Today I'll be bringing you on a tour of my hometown of Limerick, Ireland. I will be starting at the Limerick Gallery of Art. The reason I have chosen to start here is because the LGA was the first place that sparked my interest in art. It houses a permanent collection of paintings. These are, for the most part, work of Irish artists. Just outside the LGA is Perry Square, one of the Georgian areas of the city. It is one of my favourite places to walk through as it inspires my imagination. I always wonder who lived here, what were they like, what were their jobs, were they happy here, did they employ people in their homes? The next stop on our journey is the Frank McCourt Museum. Frank McCourt was a Limerick native and the author of the critically acclaimed Angela's Ashes. This memoir documents his childhood in Limerick and the hardships endured by his family. In the past 5 years, the Limerick County Council opened the Frank McCourt Museum. In the mid-90s, the memoirs brought Limerick to the limelight as the movie of the same name was shot on location here. For over 10 years, I channeled much of my creative energy not into art but into classical ballet. This building is the home of my old studio. I do feel that although I made the decision in my teens to quit, I carried through a strong understanding of movement and a familiarity with the human form. Continuing further into the city, the next stop is the Bell Table. The Bell Table is a combined theatre and exhibition space. It is another place within the city that allows artists and performers alike, no matter what stage in their career, to exhibit their craft and create a following and an interest. This is one example of street art within the city. This was painted in 2013, directly after Limerick had finished its reign as the European City of Culture. This, like others, is a particular favourite of mine. I love seeing the level of detail and find that almost every time I examine it, I notice something new. It also gives me a lot of pride that it hasn't been defaced by graffiti. It shows a level of respect to the beauty and the work put into this creation. This is Silk's art supply shop. It's my favourite art shop and somewhere I have to stop myself from walking into. I love this shop because not only is it one of the best stocked art supply shops in the city, it's also the most reasonably priced and often has great offers available. Our next stop is just across the road, and this is the Lucky Lane. The Lucky Lane is a combination of antique shop, vintage shop, art retailers, second-hand bookshop and craft shop. It is a treasure trove of creative work. Fox's Bow is one of my favourite places in the city. It is a pedestrianised lane that holds shops such as Singer's Sewing Shop, Destiny Tattoo and Body Piercing, somewhere I regard as creative industry as I see it as an example of self-expression and as a type of art. It is a mecca for small artisan businesses and cafes. One of the businesses Fox's Bow has to offer is the hipster cafe, the Stormy's Teacup. It is a business that really caters to a creative clientele. It's a place that it would not be uncommon for someone to whip out a guitar and begin to play. It is utterly relaxed and promotes many different shows and events its customers are taking part in or promoting themselves. Mickey Martin's is a local pub that pulls influence from the modern Ireland of today and our country's history in its decor. It is a pub that is known for its inviting, relaxed atmosphere. They also play home to a pub cat that has a talent for drinking milk out of a shot glass. This is another more abstract example of street art within the city. It is an example of local artists using the concept of street art to bring some vibrance to what would otherwise have been a dull, boring side street. Ormston House is another art gallery situated within the city centre. It is a gallery that almost exclusively exhibits modern conceptual art that has sculptural or digital elements to it. As I have previously mentioned, Limerick was the European City of Culture from 2012 to 2013. Last year, the city ran again to hold the title for 2020 Capital of Culture, but we unfortunately were unsuccessful in our bid. We are now planning on running for the Capital of Culture 2030. As part of our bid, the more creative areas of the city were covered in street art. This is an example of one that answers the question of what culture is to you. I love seeing this as I feel it has a lovely, vibrant reflection of the Irish sense of friendliness and inclusion. The Hunt Museum is not only a local museum but a gallery also. It regularly holds shows of the work of artists and designers and works closely with the Limerick School of Art and Design, acting as a venue for multiple shows throughout the year. We are now entering the medieval part of the city, across the bridge over the River Shannon. Ireland is an exceptionally wet country, so having a dry day such as this is a real novelty. I love being able to show the true beauty of the city like this. Just across the bridge, my old college building is located. It was great having our building located so centrally in the city, because it not only meant that we had access to different supply shops and cafes, but it also meant that we had access to so many different research possibilities. This is the granary. As is suggested by its name, it was once the city granary, but now the building has been converted to hold a library, restaurant, and nightclub, to name a few. The library holds the city records going back hundreds of years. Making our way back to the LGA, we pass my favourite vintage clothes shop, The Edge. Many people, especially those studying at LSAD, shop here and have invested in particular favourites, such as the 80s dad jumper. We have now completed our tour of Limerick. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it informative.